Married secretly to a star actress for 5 years, my wife publicly kissed her male agent on stage. The agent raised his glass to me, his eyes full of provocation. After the party, I watched the printer spit out the divorce papers, took a picture, and sent it to her. The young agent played the victim. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't been so impulsive, Sincere wouldn't be angry." She was busy comforting him, only replying to me, "I need to think this through carefully." But the day I truly left, my wife went live online, weeping and begging me not to leave her. 1. Why isn't my remedy ready yet? Victoria Ashworth pushed open the door, one hand pressed against her aching lower abdomen. Normally, whether she was coming home or not, I'd spend at least 2 hours preparing the traditional herbal remedy for her severe menstrual cramps. I couldn't be bothered with her. Yawning, I headed towards the bedroom to sleep. Victoria frowned, then pointed a finger at me impatiently. "Sincere Clark, have I been too nice to you? Have you forgotten your place? You're throwing a tantrum in front of all those people today? We're adults. Don't you know how to maintain some dignity? Dignity?" I scoffed and shut the bedroom door, calling back, "On the day we divorce, I'll post about it very dignifiedly on social media." Since Victoria wanted dignity, I'd give it to her. "Sincere, stop fooling around. Finish making the remedy, and I'll drink it properly today." The medicine was bitter, and I always had to coax her to finish it. Gradually, at some point, properly drinking the remedy had become her way of showing she'd forgiven me. After speaking, she walked into the bedroom, tossed her phone onto the bed, and went into the bathroom to remove her makeup and wash up. The screen glowed pink, the lock screen a photo of her and her agent, Ethan Jennings. A line of white text hovered on the screen. "Baby, don't forget to take your medicine on time." Ethan was Victoria's current agent, but he'd once been a young actor signed to the company we, as a couple, had founded. He had just turned 18 when he joined, flattering us with wishes. It's wishing Mr. Clark and sis-in-law a long and happy life together. 5 years had passed in a flash. The company had been hollowed out, and he had replaced me, rising from a nobody actor to my wife's agent. Senolipa Manor had become Baby B. The pretty boy had become the little boyfriend. I didn't particularly hate Ethan for stealing her away. After all, it takes two to tango. If she had known any boundaries, would the whole world be talking about the golden couple? Victoria emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel. She unlocked her phone, saw the message, and a sweet, happy smile spread across her face. Her abdomen twinged again. Her brows knitted slightly, and she looked up, her expression towards me tinged with annoyance. Perhaps she resented that I wasn't as thoughtful as her little boyfriend, or maybe she was annoyed I hadn't prepared the remedy. Just a simple reminder to take medicine earned her sweet happiness. Yet in 5 years of marriage, even when I was suffering from gastric bleeding, I never forgot to spend 2 hours brewing her remedy. But the affection between husband and wife had faded. Now her eyes held only impatience and disgust. I pretended not to see her look, my own gaze growing cold. "Sincere, just take a couple of days to cool off. I need to take Ethan to a press conference. And remember to bring your ID, it'll be inconvenient for you two staying together otherwise." Victoria froze, staring hard at me. "Sincere, I am your wife in the eyes of the law. How can you say such things to me? It doesn't matter. In a few days you'll be my ex-wife." I waved dismissively, shifting into a more comfortable position to ease my stomach. And don't worry about me coming after your assets. I'll leave with nothing." Victoria wasn't with me during the partial gastrectomy surgery. Of course, I hadn't told her about it either. She was busy taking their pet cat to be neutered with her little boyfriend, Ethan. A cat's neutering is certainly less critical than stomach surgery, but Ethan was more important than me. Gritting my teeth against the searing pain in my stomach, I took a cab to the hospital alone. The doctor said if I didn't have the surgery, my life could be in danger. The alcohol I'd drunk was at the post-concert gala, where Ethan, standing beside her, had toasted me. She had forgotten about my alcohol allergy then, and certainly wouldn't remember it afterward, even though she knew back then that if I touched alcohol, my stomach would likely be done for. So, it was for the best. This time, for my future health, I chose to have half of my stomach removed. In the bedroom, Victoria paused, looking somewhat doubtful and scornful about my decision to leave with nothing. She had always believed that, if only for the money, I would never divorce her. Still, her tone was mocking. Well, at least you have some self-awareness. Self-awareness? I laughed, switched off the light and settled down to sleep, leaving her with one final sentence. You're right. I should have known better. Everything that's happened today is my own damn fault. Victoria and I met when we were young. Our love story had no dramatic beginning. She said she liked me from the first moment she saw me. Young and naive, I found her simple and lovely. In college, to be at the same school as her, I gave up studying abroad and chose to attend a private undergraduate arts program with her. Because I defied my family's plans, they cut me off financially. She too fought for our love, working late nights at part-time jobs to pay my tuition, which led to her chronic severe menstrual cramps. I used connections to find a traditional herbal remedy for the cramps and brewed it for her. She smiled, kissing the soot off my face, touched and concerned. After starting work to find resources for her career, I constantly attended dinners and drank heavily, developing stomach problems. Once, severe gastric bleeding from alcohol landed me in the hospital for 3 days. She cried by my bedside, nearly fainting, swearing she'd never let me touch another drop of alcohol. She said putting her husband in the hospital just for some resources was something she could never live with. She said if possible, she hoped we'd always be healthy and safe, even if it meant living as ordinary people. That day, we committed our lives to each other, and now, she had forgotten I couldn't even drink alcohol. 3. After moving out of Victoria's villa, I went to the hospital for a checkup. I had a full physical, wanting to avoid any lingering health issues. The doctor prescribed some supplements to nourish my stomach and expressed his gratitude. Mr. Clark, thank you for providing the pharmacy with that remedy for menstrual cramps. It's proven very effective. Of course, I knew it was effective. It had managed Victoria's severe condition, so how could it be anything less? While picking up my prescription, I ran into Ethan. His face was full of contempt and ridicule. He sneered that I looked down and out after leaving Victoria, adding that I was ungrateful, discarding a wonderful wife like her. I couldn't be bothered with him. It occurred to me that in ancient times this guy might have been a modern version of Shimin Qing, destined to be beaten to death by Wu Song eventually. Translator's note: Shimin Qing is a notorious adulterer from classic Chinese literature. Wu Song is the hero who kills him. Or perhaps more aptly in Western terms, a regular Casanova asking for trouble. What are you doing here? Unsurprisingly, where Ethan was, Victoria wasn't far behind. Her expression held a hint of worry and suspicion. It struck me as odd. When had I ever seen such an expression on her face when she was with Ethan? When are you going to calm down and move back? And from Victoria's perspective, I was always the one at fault, and she expected me to obey her words implicitly. I stuffed the checkup report into my bag, having no desire to engage with her. Her face was filled with doubt and disdain, though maybe I misread a flicker of concern. Why are you at the hospital? Are you sick? Why didn't you tell me? Only you could come up with such a childish ploy. And sincere Clark, could you please stop using such low-level tactics to get my attention? She still thought my leaving, even coming to the hospital, was just posturing, faking illness to gain her sympathy and attention. I ignored Victoria's self-absorbed assumptions, waved dismissively, and turned to leave. Wishing you two a long and happy life together, and may you have children soon. Victoria reacted as if stung, chasing after me and shouting, Sincere, this is where you fall short compared to Ethan. You're always so petty. I shook my head, unwilling to argue with this foolish woman, and simply walked away, showing her my back. Suddenly, Ethan pointed to a notice board at the hospital entrance, seemingly trying to distract Victoria from pressing further. Baby, look, there's a prescription for that herbal remedy for cramps. His tone was gentle, feigning concern. Haven't you been having bad cramps lately, baby? The hospital notice says this remedy is very effective. As I turned the corner leaving the hospital entrance, through the glass, I saw Victoria standing motionless under the notice board. 4. Although our previous company had collapsed, my business acumen hadn't diminished. A new company, a new home, a completely new life, everything was proceeding as planned. The day I urged my lawyer to prepare the divorce filing, Victoria called, acting as if nothing had happened. When are you coming home? I feel like eating your cooking. Sin, if you're hungry, order takeout. If that doesn't work, ask your agent to cook for you. And you still angry about that incident? It was just an accident. Besides, I've already taken the initiative to talk to you. What more do you want? I couldn't even be bothered to say another word. This was her believing that if she just initiated contact, everything that happened before could be wiped clean. I scoffed. Victoria, be rational. As my wife, you publicly kissed another man. After something like that, what solution could there possibly be besides divorce? Shouldn't they just see him as a younger brother? Since I've already decided. I forgive you for running away from home. Can you please stop being angry? Victoria stated this with utter conviction. I suspected the wife I had spent 5 years with might be intellectually challenged. Enough talk. Divorce. I hung up, Victoria's mocking laughter ringing in my ears. Divorce? Sincere, what are you without me? Who among those business partners would give you the time of day if not for my connections? If we really divorce, I guarantee you'll regret it and end up broke. I ignored her and ended the call. After a brief meeting at my company, I instructed my lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. Then I immediately attended an industry networking event filled with major players and veterans. Though just a casual gathering, it helped me reconnect with many contacts. Busy until evening, I drove home, only to find Victoria waiting at my door. She still looked stunning, every bit the eye-catching superstar. Sincere, what on earth did you do? Why is Ethan suddenly facing a slew of contract cancellations? Seeing me, Victoria's voice was filled with anger, disappointment, and uncertainty. I need to deal with this right now, or Ethan might be questioned by the police. And just say you were the one who handled those contracts, and it will all be resolved. Listening to Victoria's fury, I simply said coolly, weren't you the one who said I'd regret it, that I'd fare poorly without you? Fine then, let's get divorced. And will you ever grow up? Stop this drama? And tormenting Ethan is your way of making me regret things. Divorce? All you think about is divorce. I find you disgusting. My mention of divorce made Victoria's fair face flush red. Her phone rang. Victoria, keeping this intimate address from the caller, you asked me to look into your husband's hospital visit. I found out. Victoria glanced at me, her eyes deep. What's his condition? NT was shocked due to an allergic reaction to alcohol, which caused gastric spasms and ulceration. Eventually, he had to undergo partial gastrectomy surgery. 5, are you sure? Victoria's voice held suspicion. Could the doctor have made a mistake? Hearing Victoria's words, I felt utterly baffled. It was laughable. Even now, she still thought I was conspiring with the doctor to fake it. Sincere, whether you're really sick or faking it, if you agree to resolve Ethan's situation, then I'll agree to reconcile with you, Victoria stated in an unquestionable tone. Even Ethan on the phone pleaded, "Alright, yeah, boss Chen, just help me out this once. After all, you used to handle these contracts. You can solve these issues with just a word." And Sincere, Ethan's company is just starting to take off. He absolutely cannot run into trouble now. I shot Victoria a cold glance. The terms were clearly written in those contracts. I warned you both before. Now that it's blown up, have you considered the impact on me? Victoria didn't hesitate. So what if it impacts you, and you're not active in the industry anymore? If your reputation suffers, it suffers. But Ethan can't afford that. He's still so young, his career is just beginning. You can't ruin him? Ruin him? I almost laughed out loud from anger. He handled those shady dual contracts himself, didn't he? Surely you knew about them, I said with a sneer. Ethan was just trying to help me, Victoria explained. Help you, so he does something illegal? That's none of your concern. The contracts are problematic now, and you must fix it for Ethan, Victoria commanded. In 5 years of marriage, whatever she asked I always fulfilled. Perhaps I had spoiled her too much, making her believe that if she ordered me, I would obey as always. Ethan chimed in on the phone. Hey, Boss Chen, please help me. If you help me, I promise I'll never do anything inappropriate with Sis Lynn Victoria in front of you again. But if you don't help me, things like this will keep happening. To do as you please, because Victoria and I are getting divorced, I stated flatly. Also, you should prepare to face legal action. My words terrified Ethan, and he desperately pleaded with Victoria. This naturally ignited Victoria's protective instincts. On enough, sincere, stop this nonsense. Why are you trying to scare him? At least he thinks about me. What about you? If you had shown even a little more concern for me, a little more care for my company, none of today's problems would have happened. Victoria's words cut deep. I gave a cold laugh. And so wasn't thoughtful enough for you? But were you ever thoughtful towards me? Since if you cared about me, how could you forget I have stomach problems? Remember when I ended up unconscious from gastric bleeding after drinking with investors to get you better opportunities? And if you cared, why would you let your little boyfriend toast me at the gala? How could you forget my stomach can't handle even a drop of alcohol? Victoria seemed startled by my sudden outburst. Her face abruptly turned pale, as if recalling something. Oh, you really had stomach surgery? I didn't answer further. I had said what needed saying. Believe it or not, I didn't want to waste any more time on Victoria. I sidestepped past her. Victoria finally panicked. She blocked my path. Sincere, please let me explain, okay? I was too busy, I just forgot about that. Come home with me. Let's talk properly, clear up the misunderstanding. Can we go back to how things were before, just the two of us, living our lives happily? And she probably felt she had genuinely messed up this time, making the unprecedented gesture of coaxing me. Perhaps in the past I would have readily forgiven her, continued living happily with her as before. Maybe I would have even helped Ethan with his contract problems. But now, my heart had completely died along with the part of my stomach that was removed. I shook my head, a cold smile on my lips. Victoria, we don't have a home together, and we won't have a future. And let me repeat, when you have time, let's finalize the divorce as soon as possible. Taking advantage of Victoria's stunned silence, I quickly walked away. Victoria felt a chill run through her. Watching my retreating figure, she felt something precious draining away from her, bit by bit, until it vanished completely. 6. I returned home and took a long, comfortable hot shower. Looking at the still unfurnished empty rooms, my heart felt an unprecedented sense of fullness. It was as if I had finally shed shackles I'd worn for years. Finally, I could truly live for myself. The next day, I gave the company the day off and arranged to have dinner with Julian Gordon, a childhood friend I hadn't seen in a long time. After getting married, Victoria hadn't allowed me to socialize with friends, believing it would take away from our time together. I complied. Only now, sitting in a simple local diner, did I feel truly alive again. Julian and I ate and talked non-stop about our childhood memories. Despite not seeing each other for years, it felt as if no time had passed between us. Clearly, though, Julian was quite surprised by the drastic changes in my life over just a few days. You're really planning to divorce Victoria? Well, what she did was truly awful. You should have left her long ago. Julian and I grew up together. Our families were old friends, so he knew everything about me. That's why he couldn't understand how Victoria had suddenly changed so much. But people change over time. I was just naive, thinking love could conquer all. But now, it's time to look forward. Without you, Victoria Ashworth is nothing. Don't worry, buddy, your brother here has already settled the score for you, Julian said proudly. Something clicked in my mind. I looked at Julian, half amused. And you weren't behind the trouble with Victoria's company contracts, were you? As a well-known mogul in the entertainment circle, Julian's entertainment company was one of the top 3 in the country. If anyone could suppress Victoria so quietly, I couldn't think of anyone else but Julian. I just couldn't stand seeing that despicable pair looking so smug, Julian said indignantly. If it wasn't for you back then, Victoria wouldn't have even gotten a bit part, let alone become a female lead. It was pure fantasy. I smiled, sighing inwardly. It was true that Victoria's rapid rise in the entertainment industry owed much to me. The leading role that made her famous years ago was secured because I swallowed my pride, used my family connections, and drank for 3 whole days to beg for it. Back then, Victoria and I were indeed deeply in love, but years had passed, and things had changed. While Julian and I ate, Victoria called several times. I couldn't be bothered to answer and just declined the calls. The new company was running smoothly, giving me more time to reconnect with old friends. With their help, the business began to flourish. I also got a new assistant, Phoebe Summers. She was young and followed instructions well, always trailing behind me, calling me sincere, respectfully, sometimes blushing like a recent graduate. She had just graduated from college. Every time she spoke to me, she blushed, and even the new interns at the company dared to tease her. HR told me she had studied acting, was serious about her work, hardworking and eager to learn. Everyone in the company praised her. Julian said the young lady probably had a crush on me and wanted to be my girlfriend. I chuckled, thinking it unlikely. She was so young, while I was already approaching 30. Besides, I had no interest in starting a new relationship, and I just wonder when the great actress will find time to sign the divorce papers, I vented to Julian. But living life on my own terms felt incredibly liberating. I was genuinely eager for the day I'd be single again. 7 Victoria searched for me for 2 full weeks. One morning as I was heading to the office, she blocked me at my doorstep, dragging a considerably more haggard-looking Ethan behind her to apologize. Sincere, Ethan is young and didn't know better. He made a lot of mistakes. I brought him here to apologize to you. Whether it was fear of jail time or genuine fear, it was the first time I saw a humble, ingratiating expression on this arrogant young actor's face. But some things, once done, are irreparable. Finished? If you're finished, you can leave. I need to get to the office. As I tried to leave, Victoria grabbed my arm. Sincere? Victoria hesitated, not speaking. I hadn't seen this tentative, hesitant look on her face for many years. When we first got together, she used to constantly try to gauge my mood like this, guessing if I was happy or sad that day, wondering if she had done anything to upset me. Later, Victoria became the glamorous award-winning actress, and her attitude towards me grew colder, consisting mostly of giving orders. Now, putting on this act again. Who was she trying, fool? I shook off Victoria's hand and prepared to drive away. Ethan clearly panicked, quickly pulling Victoria forward. Victoria, my situation isn't resolved yet. Please talk to Mr. Clark again. Sonny, shut up for now, Victoria snapped impatiently. We'll talk about your issues later. Ethan had clearly never been rebuffed so harshly by Victoria. It seemed he had grown accustomed to being indulged recently and couldn't even grasp priorities anymore. Victoria, I'm doing this for your own good. He has no idea how much those contracts could affect you. This is between my husband and me. You're an outsider, stay out of it. The word outsider seemed to infuriate Ethan. He suddenly erupted, Fine, so now I'm the outsider, right? If I go down, you won't get off easy either. I watched their argument with considerable interest. Suddenly, I received a text message. It was from my young assistant, Phoebe Summers. She reminded me in the message that she had prepared some stomach-soothing soup and left it in my office, telling me to remember to drink it. From that day on, Victoria seemed to have taken an extended leave of absence. Every morning she would wait faithfully at my doorstep to give me the breakfast she had prepared. During that week, Victoria appeared transformed. The first thing she said each time she saw me was, Sincere, you were too good to me before, so I thought whatever I did was right. But now I know how terribly wrong I was. I also understand now that a wife should be gentle with her husband. It was all my fault before. I'll never be willful again. And I'm learning to brew my own remedy now. I finally understand how difficult it is. Sincere, I miss you. Do you have time to go on a trip with me? I watched all this calmly, my heart unmoved, because all these changes came too late for me. Meanwhile, there was progress regarding Ethan's contract issues. It seemed Victoria had paid a hefty price to barely smooth things over. However, the company's reputation plummeted as a result, and the public image of the golden couple, Victoria and Ethan, also began to tarnish. Labels like contract breach, tax evasion, and undual contracts were slapped onto them. I knew my friend Julian was behind this, venting my frustrations for me. And the reason Victoria was willing to seek me out daily was likely because, having lost the resources I provided, she realized she couldn't protect herself anymore. During this period, I frequently visited the court, urging them to expedite the divorce proceedings with Victoria. The good news was that the media photo of her kissing Ethan helped my case. I successfully obtained our divorce certificate. My 5-year marriage to Victoria Ashworth ended at that moment. Holding the divorce certificate, I realized I felt nothing at all. It turned out my love for her had already been completely worn away by Victoria over the years. Phoebe Summers waited for me outside the courthouse, smiling and holding a bouquet of hyacinths, their meaning, forget the past and start anew. As a divorced man, I'd have to be dense not to understand Phoebe's feelings. She was very good to me, attentive to my life far beyond the duties of an ordinary assistant. However, from any perspective, I had no intention of starting a new relationship. I accepted the flowers from Phoebe, teasing, "Think I'm old enough to be getting flowers meant for elders now?" Phoebe pressed her lips together. She was sharp and immediately understood the gentle refusal in my words. But she didn't say anything, just updated me on the company situation and mentioned that a superstar singer was coming to town for a concert soon. Seeing Phoebe's eager eyes, I laughed non-committally. I knew she was hinting for me to go to the concert with her, but I had no desire to. Having finally escaped the tomb of love, the only logical thing to do was enjoy a period of freedom. But I underestimated Victoria. She was never a simple woman. The esteemed actress actually hired a large number of online trolls to expose our marriage online, attempting to pressure me into reconciling through public opinion. I silently cursed the unscrupulous media outlets 1,000 times, but as witnesses to our marriage, there wasn't much wrong with them reporting it. I didn't know what got into Victoria, but she completely ditched her young actor boyfriend and spent all her energy trying to gain forgiveness from this middle-aged uncle. Victoria stood at my door looking exhausted, as if recent events had dimmed the radiant star's usual brilliance. In front of me, she was no longer the high and mighty actress. She was the young, lovely girl from when we first got together, the Victoria who worked 3 jobs to pay my tuition. And Sincere, I know this is all my fault. Please give me one more chance, okay? I shouldn't have been so busy with work and neglected your efforts all these years. Seth apologies worked. What would we need police for? I shook my head with a faint smile. Victoria, you always think I divorced you just because of that one incident. But in reality, the feelings between us were already worn away by you long ago. You're just uncomfortable now because you haven't adjusted yet. And I, through your years of neglect, have long grown accustomed to this treatment. So, Victoria, what you want isn't my forgiveness, but simply to return to your old habits. I looked at Victoria calmly. It seemed only at this moment did she truly realize I no longer loved her. Before this, she had always believed I was just throwing a tantrum that we could reconcile, unwilling to accept the fact that her own heart had changed long ago. And Sincere, I know you won't listen to anything I say now, but are you really willing to let go of our years together? In Huayu company that was built with both our efforts. I really can't lose you. But wasn't it you who let go of this relationship first over these years? I shook my head. Uns for YU company, you and Ethan kicked me out. We have no relationship anymore. You may leave, Miss Ashworth. I closed the door, but I knew Victoria wouldn't give up easily. Indeed, these past few days, every time I left the house, I saw Victoria waiting downstairs, persistently watching over me. But I would only glance at her coolly, never approaching to greet her. Because to me now, she was just a stranger. It was ironic. Before, when I wanted to see her, she would always brush me off with the excuse of being busy. Now she seemed desperate to be in my presence 24 hours a day. 11 Julian told me that YU company was in complete chaos, all because Victoria, the person in charge, was ignoring company matters entirely, spending her days camped outside my home. Ethan was furious, like a cooked duck that had suddenly flown away. He came daily to persuade Victoria to forget about me, but she wouldn't even look at him now. Desperate, Ethan came to my company to confront me, demanding to know if I intended to ruin both him and Victoria. And I've never done anything specifically against you two. Isn't everything happening now just the consequence of your own actions? Just like me in the past, Victoria had clearly lost interest in Ethan now, and being essentially useless without her support, he quickly became irrelevant. Within the company, there were already moves to oust him. After hearing my words, Ethan went berserk, convinced I had destroyed everything he had painstakingly built. He lunged at me, wanting to hit me. I calmly had security pull him away and then called the police. Hopefully, 15 days in detention would clear his head a bit. As for Victoria, whether she had truly changed her mind or loved me now was utterly meaningless to me. Belated affection is worth less than dirt. Without the annoying Ethan around, my world was finally peaceful. 12. As I stepped out of my apartment, I saw Victoria squatting by the door. She looked like a pitiful stray dog, asking if I could take her in for a while. I shook my head and walked past her. Julian's car was waiting nearby. We had plans to try a newly opened restaurant. Feeling like you've gotten some satisfying revenge? Julian asked. Did you do something else? I looked at Julian, surprised. My childhood friend never tolerated injustice. While Victoria and I were married, he held back. Now that we were divorced, Julian had completely let loose. I contacted several major companies and had Victoria blacklisted. Not only her, but no company will dare hire anyone from her agency either, Julian chuckled. I grimaced slightly. My friend always acted decisively. To be honest, though, I didn't particularly want revenge on her. I just wanted to live my own life well. But I hadn't expected Victoria to actually wait outside my door all night. When I returned that evening, I nearly tripped over her. Victoria was leaning against the door, pale-faced, hands pressed tightly against her lower abdomen, eyes shut tight. It was impossible to tell if she had fainted or worse. I called emergency services and sent her to the hospital. After all, I didn't want someone dying on my doorstep. Were you planning for me to arrange your funeral? At the hospital entrance, Victoria, barely conscious, immediately tried to pull out her IV drip to come after me. Faced with my words, Victoria looked utterly lost, blood still seeping from the needle mark on the back of her hand. "I just wanted to see you." Victoria used to be like this. Back when she was working part-time jobs, she would text me saying she missed me whenever she had a free moment. As soon as she sent that message, I would appear before her instantly. Or if she did something wrong, I would immediately forgive her. But hearing those words again now, they no longer held the same power. And the greatest help you can offer me is to stop bothering me. After contacting someone from Victoria's company, I left the hospital. Before leaving, I forwarded the hospital bill to them as well. We were strangers now, and strangers don't pay each other's bills. Seeing the bill I sent, Victoria remained silent for a long time. Outside, Julian was waiting, having been there for quite a while. Julian had already packed my luggage and held the car door open. "Oh, let's go, or we'll miss the flight." Seeing my retreating back as I prepared to leave, Victoria finally panicked. Where are you going?" Julian smirked provocatively. "I'm taking Sincere abroad to develop his career. As for you, don't even think about seeing him again." sincere. Are you really leaving me? I ignored Victoria and told Julian to drive. I could see Victoria chasing frantically behind us. Julian asked me, "Do you feel sorry for her?" I shook my head. A time when I needed her is past. No matter what she does now, what's the use? Everyone should look forward, shouldn't they? At the airport, I left Victoria crying uncontrollably behind me. I turned my head towards the brightly shining sun.